Okay, so hi everyone, welcome. I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight for our last training series. This series has been so awesome. I have loved every second of it. And part of me is sad to see it come to a close, but part of me is super excited for you guys to be able to take this information that you've gathered and to really put it to use in your business. And I hope that you've been able to do that. I hope that you've used this information that you've gotten and learned from it. And not just let it motivate you, but actually let it inspire you to action. So through this series, we've heard from a lot of awesome leaders, but we've also heard a lot of awesome training topics. And I kept thinking about, okay, what do I want to leave them with? What do I feel like is so important for them to, how should we end this series, basically? And really where I wanted to leave you guys with the fact that you guys are so close to success. You're closer than you think you are, okay? And so I don't know if you guys have read this book. It's called 3 Feet from Gold. It is a gem of a book if you haven't. It's such a great read. It has a story in it too, and so it's a fun read as well. But a lot of what I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight is from this book. It's not the entire book, so I definitely would recommend that you read it. But I want you guys to realize just how close you are to success, whether you've been in your business a short amount of time or a long time. So in this book, he says, there are many things you cannot control, but you can control the only things that really matter. Your mind and your attitude. External forces have very little to do with success. Those who program themselves for success find a way to succeed even in the most difficult circumstances. Solutions to most problems come from one source and one source alone, yourself. So this whole book is a big, swift kick in the rear in a really, really great way, because we do have control over our mind and our attitude. And your mindset and your attitude are everything in this business. Napoleon Hill is where a lot of this book was inspired from, is Napoleon Hill. But Napoleon Hill says, every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. And that is so true. So much of what I've learned in this business is that even the times you mess up and things that you would consider a failure are really there for a greater benefit. And they're there for us to learn from. And if we don't learn from them, we're probably going to keep making the same mistake over and over until we do learn from it. So in our business and really in life, we all make our own breaks. At the end of the day, we're exactly what we choose to be. And where we choose to be. So I want to ask you and kind of let you kind of ponder upon the thought of, what are you tolerating in your business right now? What are you tolerating in your life right now? Because we choose, we are where we have chosen to be up until this point. Okay. In Arbonne, we have to spend most of our time, let me start over. In Arbonne, I would highly recommend you spend most of your time with people that want to and are willing to help themselves. Okay, because if people are unwilling or don't want help and don't want to help themselves, the chances of us dragging them there are nearly impossible. And it's so inspiring to work with people that do want to help themselves and not just want to help themselves, but they're actually willing to do it. Super powerful. So we have to acknowledge the fact that we are the same today as we will be in 5 years, except for 2 things. Okay, you guys might have heard this before. We are exactly where we're going to be 5 years from now, except for 2 things: the books we read and the people we meet. Okay, so I want you to think about the last 5 years. How many books have you read over the last 5 years? How many books are you going to read over the next 5 years? Okay. And then the people that you meet and the people you surround yourself with. We are the sum total of the knowledge we have and those that we associate with. So I really want to encourage you guys to take assessment of what you're putting in your mind, what you're reading, and then the people you're hanging around. Because if we're hanging around thinkers, we're going to be better thinkers. If we're hanging around dreamers, we're going to be better dreamers. If we are hanging around winners, we're going to be better winners. But if we hang around complaining, griping, and negative people, guess what? We don't have much of a chance, okay? Napoleon says, many successful people have found opportunities in failure and adversity that they would not recognize in more favorable circumstances. And guys, all that means is that to find success, we have to find failure and adversity. We have to. That's the only way. And I think sometimes we try to go like off the beaten path and like, oh, well, I'm going to go on this trek through the woods over here and try to outsmart or outwit or whatever problems or adversity or challenges. And that's just not how life works. Okay. We have to go through the challenges and the obstacles and the adversity to find success in life and in business. Okay. It's what makes us better people. It's what builds our character. It's what grows our leadership. And if we're unwilling to do those things, then we are unwilling to lead. Okay. In this book, he talks about advice, and so much of this book it's about this guy that gets advice from some of the most successful people in the world. And he says in this book, many receive good advice, yet few profit from it. And all that means is a lot of people hear great ideas, but then they never act upon them, or they never put into action what they learned. And that's what I said at the beginning of this call is I hope that you've not just been motivated by this series, but I actually hope that you've put into practice and into action some of the things you learned. It's awesome to read books, but if you're just plowing through books and you're not applying anything that you've learned, it doesn't do us any good, right? In this book, 3 Feet from Gold, as you can probably tell, he talks a lot about how close people are to winning in life. And the lesson of never giving up is one of the most important lessons that we could ever learn. The lesson of never giving up. And the most common cause of failure in life and business is just quitting. Okay, so who's in control of that? Right? We are. So in this book, he talks about this guy named Darby who wanted to strike it rich in gold mining, but he never took the time or invested in himself in learning how to do it. Okay, so he acquired this land out in California. He went out there. He started digging. And what happened was he found gold, but then it ran out. Okay, and he became impatient and he had a lack of knowledge. So he actually sold the land for $200 to this junk man, to a local junk man. And the local junk man hired an engineer, a professional, and the professional engineer told the guy, told the junk man that gold actually runs in fault lines. Okay, the gold runs in veins, in horizontal veins along the Earth's surface. And so what happened was the Darby drilled straight down, drilled through a gold vein, but then right through the other side of it. Okay, and so when he hit dirt again and rock, he sold off his land because he was uneducated, he was impatient, and he was unwilling to seek professional advice. Okay, and so what happened to the junk man actually hit one of the largest pockets of gold ore ever uncovered. And guess what? Darby was only 3 feet away. He was 3 feet away. Okay, so I want to show you guys this visual. I'm so visual. So I hope you guys are too. But this is kind of a visual that I want you guys to keep in your mind, okay? Because so every single one of us starts out with that pick, and we start picking away and picking away and picking away and picking away. And the top picture is where I hope you are. You're picking away, and you're picking away towards your goal. I hope you're never the bottom picture, because guys, I will tell you, I've seen it so many times in Arbonne. People quit before payday, and it is one of the most tragic things I've ever experienced. Oh, I haven't experienced it, that I've seen them experience. It's so sad. Okay, so no matter where you're at in your business right now, you are literally 3 feet from gold. It's just what you choose to do next. Okay, so don't be like Darby. Don't sell off your land for less than it's worth. Okay, he talked about how the Junkman succeeded where the other two failed in 2 different areas, or Darby failed in 2 other areas. Determination to fulfill life's purpose, and the willingness to seek expert advice. And so the reason most people lose the fortune is because they decide to give up too soon. Okay, so I like to think about it like this. What if Cecilia Stoll would have quit before she contacted Deanna Herron? She was 3 feet from gold. What if Carrie would have quit before I started nannying next door to her? She would have been 3 feet from gold. We're all 3 feet from gold. Every single one of us. Your next phone call could be your first direct national vice president. But you have to think about it like that every time you pick up the phone and every time you reach out to someone. You're 3 feet from gold. So quitting is what the majority do. Okay, so just be unwilling to be the majority. Okay, what happens is they're not committed to the outcome, they're simply chasing dollars. Okay, so we have to be so committed to the outcome, and it can't be just about the money. We have to have stickability, and stickability is just the difference between being interested and being committed. Guys, everyone's interested in working part-time from home and making great income and driving a free car and going on vacations and being around awesome people. Everyone's interested in that, but not everyone's committed to that. So figure out where you are. Are you interested? Are you committed? And take an assessment of your team. Are they interested? Or are they committed? If you're committed, you're going to want to find other people that are committed. And partnering with people like that is such a fulfilling thing. Napoleon Hill says, neglecting to broaden their view has kept some people doing one thing all of their lives. And guys, as you guys know, in Arbonne, it's all about vision. It's all about what you can see. It's all about the big picture. So we have to be careful to seek counsel and not opinions. Okay, there's a huge difference. Opinions are based on ignorance or lack of knowledge, while counsel is based on wisdom and experience. Guys, I had a lot of people early on in my business tell me I was crazy for doing this. I was a 22-year-old selling anti-aging skincare. We did not have health and wellness products. I did not have a single wrinkle on my face, okay? And I was selling anti-aging skincare, and people told me I was crazy. People told me I lived in Edmond, and there were too many people in Edmond, Oklahoma that did Arbonne. I would never be successful. Guys, people told me this straight to my face, okay? But guess what? I decided to listen to the people that were where I wanted to be instead of the people that weren't willing to do what those people did. So you have to choose what voices you're listening to. If you're going through something, how about you talk to someone that has gone through it before in your upline, right? I decided to not listen to my brother-in-law because he wasn't an expert in the field, right? So be sure that you're seeking counsel, never opinions, because people, the funny thing, everyone always has an opinion, right? In the end, the greatest success we're ever going to know is helping other people succeed and grow. And we cannot do that if we're listening to the chatter and the voices. Okay. Something else that I want you guys to know is just as in life, okay, in business, there are peaks and valleys, okay? You're going to have peaks and valleys at district. You're going to have peaks and valleys at NVP. I'm going to tell you, it's a lot easier to take peaks and valleys at NVP than it is at district manager, okay? But I've done both, okay? I've done any and all in between, okay? So if you know there are peaks and valleys, what I want to recommend is don't ever make an important decision in a valley, right? When you're in a pit or a valley, there's a high level of emotion. No one can make sound decisions when it's based on fear, loss, or disappointment. Okay, so you just want to make sure and understand that everything in life is cyclical. The secret is to wait for the cycle to proceed upward, because it always will if you proceed forward. Okay. Guys, act as if you've already accomplished your goals. When faced with challenges, it's important we keep digging, because the results are just about to happen. But when we are acting like we've already accomplished our goals, it's a lot easier to kind of see the bigger picture. Something else I want you guys to know about goals is that goals are only goals when they're written down. Okay, so what have you written down? What goals have you written down? If you haven't written things down, they're just wishes. Okay. A goal is really a contract with yourself, and it should be based less on what you want to do and more on what you promise yourself you'll actually accomplish. Okay. I'll say that again. A goal is a contract with yourself. It should be based less on what you want to do and more on what you promise yourself you'll actually do. Okay. Guys, we're always flowing either towards or away from any goal we give ourselves. But every day, the direction we choose is absolutely and 100% up to us. Okay. So I do want to read from this book a little bit. It's like I said, it's such a powerful book. I'm reading from 3 Feet from Gold, which is an awesome book if you haven't read it. But they put it kind of like this. Imagine being a skier at the top of a mountain where the goal is to get down to the bottom. It may be challenging, yet you have faith in your ability to make it to the clubhouse where the fire is warm and a hot cup of cocoa is waiting. Now, many people take their eyes off the end game once they get started. They may lose sight of their goal, or even worse, they lose their faith and redirect their attention towards what they fear most, only seeing the obstacles along the way. Like black ice, snowboarders, or those pesky trees that seem to jump out of nowhere. Once these people experience a setback or fall, they may give up, take off their skis, and ask the safety team to take them down the hill. They quit on achieving their goal because they fail to keep their eye on the prize and to believe in their own talents. So when those people hit a bump, that aren't focused on the obstacles, but they're so focused on the end goal, when they hit a bump and take a fall, they get right back up, knowing that's one more obstacle out of their way and that they're getting closer to their goal. Guys, it's the same in this business. Okay, you will come up against challenges and obstacles. Okay, so don't think you're the exception to the rule in that. It's not always going to be just smooth sailing. So when we go in expecting the obstacles and knowing we're going to overcome them and just get right back up. Okay, it's like a baby. When they are learning how to walk, the learning to walk is the end goal. Okay, how many times do they fall down before they can actually walk? A lot. I've taught 3 kids how to walk. They will get up and fall down and get up and fall down. But it's not like they get up and they fall down. They're like, well, I guess I'll never walk. It is the exact same thing when we do that exact same thing in our business. We'll go and we'll fall and we'll be like, well, I knew this was going to happen. Well, good. I'm glad you knew it was going to happen. Now get back up and go, right? It's the exact same thing. So in this book, he talks about the success equation, and I want to go over the success equation with you because I think it's really powerful. The success equation is P, which is for passion, plus T, which is talent. So your passion plus your talent, times A, which is your association, times action, equals your success. Okay, so P is passion. So when you combine your passion, which basically your passion is what you would do if you could do it for free. Okay, I would do Arbonne for free. I would do Arbonne if they stopped paying me. I love it that much. And it's not that I love, I mean, I do, but it's not that it's not about the products for me. It's about the people, okay? So the T is your talent, so that's just what you're good at. And if you multiply that by finding the right association, which just means working with the right people or the right organization, and then the last A is taking action. Okay, so it's the accumulation of all of those things, the entire equation is going to equal your success. Okay, and nothing more, but nothing less. Okay, so maybe look at your equation and try to figure out where's the missing link. Okay, is it the action piece? Most likely, that's the piece that's lacking, is the action part. Okay, so guys, there's a big difference between believing in something and knowing it. For example, which would be more powerful? I want you guys to think about this. Believing you may find true love one day, or knowing that someone is waiting for you and all you need to do is move towards that person until you meet. Which one's more powerful? I believe the second one is more powerful, okay? It's what keeps you going through tough times. You could say that about really anything in life or business, okay? When you know it's bound to happen and you expect it to happen, guess what? It usually happens, okay? So really, paying our dues is just part of the process. And I think that once we learn and know and understand that, is that no one has ever had a super smooth sail all the way to the top of the company. No one. You ask anyone that has ever gone to the top, and they will all have a story for you about the tough times and the times that they had to push through and the adversity that they saw and the challenges. So action is something else that I wanted to talk to you about. Because Napoleon, next in this book, talks about, he says, tell the world what you intend to do, but show them first. Show them first. Guys, it's easy to say it. It's harder to do it. Okay? So you maybe take assessment of what am I saying I want, but what am I actually doing? Does the action match the talk? You don't want to be a whole lot of talk and no action, right? That's a big deal. So have a goal, a destination, but once you set your sights on where you're going, move forward, right? Do something to actually move forward towards that direction. Have faith that you'll get there. Guys, the how will work itself out. I cannot tell you how many of you I have sat down and talked to about a game plan to move forward. And most of the time, it doesn't happen exactly the way you have it mapped out. So many of us get so caught up in the actual game plan instead of the actual action and putting one step in front of the other, okay? Because the Lord has a much bigger plan. So I want you to think about all the plans that you made in the past year. What are all the plans that you made in the past year? Okay. How many of those plans worked out for you? Okay. My guess is not as many as you would have liked. Okay. And I think a lot of that is because we get too wrapped up, like I said, in the plan and not so much the action and the why. Okay. So in this book, this chapter is actually called Stop Over Planning. Okay, stop over planning. We do have to have a game plan, but he says, while the people who plan their path are focusing on their steps and their breaths they can take, a guy like me is looking to see if a kid, let me start on something else. Okay, say you have a goal of getting to the end of your street. That's the start because you have set a goal for yourself. Then what you need to do is leave the house and start moving in that direction. Now, if you stick to a specific plan, take 2 steps, pause, take 2 steps, pause, and so on, you may actually miss all the unexpected opportunities around you. While the people who plan their paths are focusing on their steps and their breaths that they take, a guy like me is looking to see if a kid left his bicycle or a skateboard out to make my journey shorter. I didn't plan for that. I just kept my eye open for that. So how many skateboards and bicycles have you walked past because it wasn't part of your plan? Okay? We all have, okay? It's just to be mindful of it from now on so you don't miss those opportunities. No man ever achieves great success who is unwilling to make personal sacrifices. So sacrifice is another piece of success. And sacrifice comes from being selfless, okay? Not selfish, but selfless. And in this business, we have no room for ego. And I will be the first to tell you guys, I have been guilty of my ego creeping up. And I have to watch myself, okay? In this book, he says ego stands for edging God out. Okay, there's no room for God when ego is involved. Ego is the enemy. If you haven't read that book, that's also a really, really great book. But the best leaders are when their hearts are bigger than their status. Okay, you always want your heart to be bigger than your status. Great leaders also have an amazing standard of excellence. Because like I said earlier, we are what we tolerate. So if we have a dirty car or a dirty house, or if we tolerate that, we're not ever going to have anything more than that, right? We're not going to have a clean house if we tolerate a dirty house. We're not going to have an awesome business if we tolerate a mediocre business. We're not going to have a huge impact if we tolerate a minimal impact. Okay, what are you tolerating? A lot of us start tolerating things because we're focusing on the hits. Okay, the hits coming our way. We focus on the blows. So focusing on the blows instead of changing our attention toward fighting back and staying on our toes. So it's like a fighter. What are you focusing on? Guys, I will tell you, you never remember the blows. You only remember the victory. There's a ton of stuff that disappointment, fear, letdown, challenges, obstacles, and I've forgotten about them. Why? Because the victory has been so much sweeter. Right? And so just know that every step of the way is so worth it. You're not going to remember all these tiny little no's you got. You're not. Until they say yes. And then you'll remember, wait a minute. You said no at one point, right? Okay. Something else about leadership and great leadership is just expecting greatness. Just elevating your standards. When you know where you're going, people will follow you. Okay? And it's not you know how you're going to get there. You just know that you're going. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You just have to know you're going there. Okay? Because when you know that you're going there, people will follow you. I know a lot of you have heard this story before, but I'll never forget the first time I actually told people where I was going in Audubon. I was a district manager. I was in Joplin, Missouri at an event that I drove 4.5 hours to go to. And and guys, I was so insecure. I had no idea what I was doing. I was a brand new DM. And I remember telling that room of women, right now I'm a district manager in Arbonne, but I will be a national vice president. And I'm looking for people to take along, to take to the top with me. And guys, it was that night that people started taking me more seriously. And it was that night that other people started believing me, because I started believing in me. Okay, for the first time. Because guys, everyone has the opportunity to pursue their passions and their dreams, but not everyone does something about it. Be the person that does something about it. Okay, but not that just does something about it, that actually gives other people permission to do the same, because that's the most fulfilling part of this business. It's so fulfilling. And that's why I would keep doing it even if I weren't paid anymore. So we don't, like I said, we don't need to know the exact how. We just have to have a strong enough why. And you guys know that your mind is such a powerful, powerful thing. Poverty isn't what's in your pocket, it's what's in your head. Okay, it's how you think. It's why having a world-class mindset is so important, and that has nothing to do with your bank account. It has everything to do with what you're feeding your mind. 10% of your attitude is what life hands you. 90% of your attitude is how you choose to respond to it. How are you choosing to respond to things? Are you being victim or are you playing victor? What is your role? Okay. Being broke is a temporary economic condition. Poor is a disabling frame of mind and a depressed condition of spirit. Okay, there is a difference. Every wealth creator is crystal clear on two things: their vision and their mission. So what's your vision? Where are you headed? And what's your mission? Who are you helping? Sorry, I should have marked all these pages. It would have been a lot better. Okay. So in this book, he says, first comes a dream, followed by a struggle, and then there is victory. The problem is most people give up in the struggle section and never get to sense what victory actually feels like. Great people have two types of courage. First, they have the courage to get started, to take the leap of faith, to take action when they have no guarantees of success. Second, once they're on their way, they develop the courage to endure, the courage to persevere, and the perseverance is key. Guys, you guys have already, all of you have taken that first step of faith. That's the first piece of courage that you have to have. And you've already done it. The second piece of courage, though, is the most important. It's what's going to keep you in the game. It's what's going to keep you persevering. And that is everything. Okay, it is absolutely everything. People doubt their beliefs, but believe their doubts. Guys, believe in yourself, and the world, I promise, will believe in you. They will. They already do. Most people go through life with this philosophy that they need to see something before they can believe it. When in truth, they simply need to believe in something. They must know it to be true, and only then will that something show itself. Guys, and if you haven't already listened to my Are You Ready to Go or So You Want to Go area or whatever that call is, I talked about in there, like, it's not going to seem possible. Your next step, whether that's district, area, region, nation, no matter how far away that seems, it's not until you take that leap of faith that anything is going to change. You can't wait for the team to go. You have to go and the team will show. Okay, that's how this business works. You guys, so like I told you earlier, I had a lot of naysayers in my business early on. I had a few rock solid cheerleaders, and all I needed was a few. Okay. But guys, I used people's doubt as my catalyst. Okay. I am the shy introverted girl, but you tell me I can't do something and you better believe I'm going to show you that I can. Okay. So use that doubt as fuel. Don't use it as water to dim your flame. Use it as lighter fluid. Okay? Because that's what I did. I was out to prove some people wrong is what I was doing. Okay? Then it turned into something a whole lot bigger than that. Okay? Because when you know you're doing something you love, you should never let another person stand in your way. Who are you letting stand in your way right now? I'm sure there are a couple of people. Okay, so identify that and know that you are giving them the ability to stand in your way, and that's not okay. Most people that fail don't fail because their goals are too big or that they lack the ambition to succeed. It's because they allowed others to set their limitations. Okay, some people get a cheering section. Others get the opposite, and it's up to every person to decide which is worth listening to. We each have a cheering section, maybe just like one person in the stands, and then we all have the opposing team over here. Which one are you choosing to listen to? Athletes on the field, they have that same choice. Which side are they going to listen to? Are they going to listen to the hecklers? Are they going to listen to their cheerleaders, their cheer squad? You have to tune in and tune out the one that you don't want to listen to. It is so important. Something else that I want you guys to know is that your mind will not allow you to think of something that you could not accomplish. Let me say that again. Your mind will not allow you to think of something that you could not accomplish. So when you put that image into your head, it's already a reality. It's just waiting for you to get there. Already a reality. That's why visualizing things is so important. Guys, when I was an area manager, I had that Mercedes symbol all over my house. I had it on my computer. I had it on my phone. I had it printed off in pictures. I had already picked out my Mercedes. I had pictures of the trips I was earning. I visualized things, and it was powerful. Look at that, Natalie. She's visualizing it. So visualization is powerful. So what are you visualizing? Okay. Guys, what I want you to know is there is gold within 3 feet of where you stand now. So stay away from self-pity. Stop playing victim. And whatever you do, keep digging because it is your turn. The people that choose to figure it out, the people that choose to seek counsel versus opinions, the people that choose to persevere versus throw in the towel, the people that get knocked down but stand back up are the people that find the gold vein. And I promise you're only 3 feet away. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You'll have to read the book to finish the thoughts. It's an awesome book. I promise I didn't even touch on all of the awesome nuggets that are in that book. So powerful and such an easy read. Thank you guys so much for being a part of our call tonight. Be looking forward to our next series. I don't know when it's going to be, and I don't know what the focus is going to be on yet. I'm still praying about that, but you'll be sure to love it. I'm sure of it. I hope you guys have an awesome night tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.